Now let's use our framework to actually build the roof of our car. Alright, so again, what we want to do is make sure that the resolution is in the proper position where we can actually use it. So if we have some that we can actually use here that are pretty close, we can just tweak that a little bit, and it's not going to give us too much trouble. Now if you want to straighten that geometry up, you could come in and kind of rotate that around if you want to. You might change the shape a little bit. You could also use your quick slice to add that if you wanted to make sure that's kind of straight. But I'm just going to kind of move it generally into the right spot here. Okay, and you can see how this is throwing us off a little bit because it's not lined up, right? So you can go ahead and just modify this just a little bit. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's going to be close enough for us. We go ahead and take that middle one and just move it up a little bit. All right. Now for the back, we've got one that's pretty close right in here. So we can go ahead and just move that just a little bit, as long as it's not too much. And then we want to make sure we maintain that curve right here. So now we've got that geometry that we're able to use. So let's go ahead and again grab some edges, and we'll just select all these edges in the center here, all the way down to this spot. So basically these guys right in here. Okay, and so let's go ahead and now just shift and pull those over. Okay, so if we take a look at this, you can see that we'll probably want to move this up. So we can go ahead and start to do that as we pull this over. So kind of move that up, hold down shift, pull it across again, and maybe move that up a little bit more, just a little bit, and then hold down shift again, and we can pull that over to the origin. We can grab these points and just scale them in the X, kind of straighten them up. You can also use that and make planar that we used before, and just pull those over to the middle. Okay, so then when we mirror that over, we can actually weld those vertices together. All right, now so we need to have the roof, but we also want kind of a seal right in here. We need some geometry for that, so let's go ahead and add that using our edge selection. If you want to add any more edges in here too to maintain that shape, or if you want to move these, for instance, if you want to kind of space these out a little bit more, so it's a little bit close to the middle, you could take this back and just kind of add that shape. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add some resolution for that seal just by taking an edge selection, selecting the ring, and I want this to be kind of up tight against this where this metal is going to be. All right, so I'll do a connect down here and do one segment and just slide that over, so something pretty thin, but something like that. So maybe minus 87 here is what we've got. So now we've got that geometry there. All right, so now what we want to do is actually detach this. So you can go and just select all of these polygons, basically all the new polygons that we created. And oftentimes you just want to hit Q instead of being in move so you don't accidentally move something. And then we can come down and detach those. Yeah, we can call that roof. Go ahead and detach it. And now we can detach the seal also. Okay, just by deselecting these polygons right in the middle, or right on the side here rather, and then detach that. And this is actually the roof. And make sure we've got, there's a roof, and we'll call this seal. Okay. And so now we can actually mirror this across if we want to. So for the roof, it's okay to mirror that because it's right in the middle. We're not going to be doing much more to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add a symmetry modifier. So we'll go down to symmetry, and we want to make sure that our mirror is correct. So we can change that axis. You can see that's the one that we want. Okay. And pull that over, turn off flip. Pull this up so we can see this a little bit better. And back. And now we can pull this close enough to where those vertices will merge together. You can see how that merges. Okay. And once we're done with that, we can go ahead and collapse it. Yes. And now we have the seal. Now what we want to do is add some thickness to all of this. And the seal we want to have, want it to be nice and tight in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab these edges, grab this ring. Let's go ahead and add some resolution here to hold that. So we'll add 2 segments with 0 slide and pinch that out, something like that. Okay, we'll do the same thing over here. This time we'll just add 1 with the no pinch and move it all the way out to the end. And we'll do the same thing over here. This time we'll move it to the other side. So something kind of like that. Alright, now we can add some thickness to this just by adding a shell modifier. So we'll go down to shell. You can also hit S and it'll take you down to the S's. Now I don't want it to be that thick, so I'll go ahead and just kind of thin that out a little bit. And I want to add some segments along the side. Okay. So I think that's going to probably work for us. We can go ahead and collapse that. Yes. And if you want it to be an editable mesh, if not, you can go ahead and convert that to an editable poly. Now this roof we want to do the same thing on, right? So we want to actually go into the edge selection. You could just drag across these edges. Let's go ahead and add some geometry there. So we'll add 1 segment all the way over to the side. Apply that. Add 1 over here. Apply that. Let's go ahead and add 1 right in here. Now that looks like it's off a little bit, so we can go ahead and check this and make sure we don't have anything weird going on. We've got a couple of extra vertices that are hanging out there, so we'll go ahead and make sure that we delete that. Go ahead and select these, and let's connect. Go down to Edit Edges, and let's pull that over to the end. And all this to just to make this nice and sharp when we actually smooth this, so that the edges are nice and sharp. Right? So go ahead and move that back that direction. All right. Okay, so now we can add some thickness to this just by again using shell. And we'll add kind of about the same thickness there. And you can make that a little bit thicker if you wanted to. We'll collapse that, and I'm going to just convert it to an editable poly. Okay. All right. So now if you say you want to copy this seal over to the other side, we can simply use this mirror. Okay, we'll mirror that. We want to make a copy. Okay, we want to copy it in the X, and we want to offset it. Okay, so depending on where the pivot is located, it kind of depends on where that'll come out, but we can offset that a little ways and then actually just move it into position. If your pivot's at the origin, it'll just pop right over. You can go into pivot, center that, and turn off effect pivot only, and then we can just move that over. Okay, and just move that right over there. Then if you want to go ahead and attach these, so make this one piece, we can go to Modify and down to Attach, and we'll just attach the other one. So now that's actually just one piece. When we select one, we select both of them. And we can give that kind of a black color if we want to. Alright, so that's very quickly how we're able to create the roof there. If we take a look at this, you can see that it needs to be deformed just a little bit, right? But kind of goes with goes without saying there. So we'll go ahead and add an FFD box, and let's go maybe 3 by 3. Now let's go actually let's make one that's kind of custom. So we'll go to FFD box, set number of points. Let's set all these to 5. Okay, and then we'll select control points, and let's go ahead and pull this out slightly. Okay, let's select the middle one and pull that out just to give it a little bit more shape there. Okay, and then this one, let's go ahead and pull this out just a little bit. Okay, because we want that to match up, and that's because we didn't put this line right up against there, but that's okay as long as the shape kind of matches, right? You can check it from the different views that you have. Now, once you have it deformed the way that you want, we can go ahead and with this selected, go ahead and collapse that. Yes. Okay, so there we've got now our roof and seal next to the roof built from our initial geometry. We started out with just some geometry extruded along a spline, then we built off of that, and then we built the roof from there. So the next thing that we want to do is actually go down and look at how we can detach the door frame from this. So we need some of this geometry to be kind of part of the door. So we'll look at how we can create that in the next lesson.